Hi everyone. I read an article from Entrepreneur Magazine all about the steps that a new employer takes in hiring a new employee. It's divided up into two parts. The first part is about the application and interview process and making sure that you find good applicants. And the second part is about making sure that you have all of your information in line and legal documentation in line once you have hired a new employee. The first part, she goes through a lot of facts. The author goes through a lot of facts about employee applications and stuff. She says that the average company spends about $4,000 the whole training and hiring process. So you want to make sure that you get it done correctly the first time. Make sure that you check all your facts, because a lot of times people inflate the information that they have on their resume, false degrees, or making lies about how long they were employed somewhere. She also talks about drug tests, making sure that you give drug tests to your applicants. 65% of on-the-job accidents are because of drug-related issues, so you want to make sure that you keep that out of your workplace if it's at all possible. She talks about other tests that employees have done in the past, but they aren't really applicable to food service industry. She talks about psychological tests, handwriting tests, other types of tests that aren't really important. But she also talks about not asking about age, sexual orientation, marital status, stuff like that we talked about in class. She talks about calling the references that they have listed, two professional and two personal, just to make sure that they do have the information correct on their resume and that they're going to be good employees for you, that they've been good employees in the past. Once you've hired your employee, it's a good idea to define their job, making sure that your job description is laid out, and making sure that they're classified as a full or part-time employee, just to make sure that you have benefits and hourly wage versus salary information all laid out. There's also tax classifications about the different types of employees that you can have. Most employees are common law employees, which is just an hourly wage person that you give a paycheck every week or every other week or monthly. But there are also statutory employees, statutory non-employees, and independent contractors. It's important that if you do have these people working for you, that you have them defined and that you have all of the tax information laid out for them. For records, you have to always have up-to-date information about names, addresses, social security number, date of birth, stuff like that. You have to always have on hand in case it's needed. You also have to keep track of all of your pay stubs and making sure that every time you give an employee a paycheck, you have the dates of payment, and that you take note of any additions or deductions from the paycheck, because if it comes up in a dispute, you want to be able to defend yourself in court if that's what it gets to. You also have to make sure that it's that the employee that you've hired is eligible, and that you have proof that they're eligible to work in the United States. This includes a I-140 form, which is an immigrant petition for an alien worker, and you have to have this form and you have to have all their information to avoid civil penalties and potential audits by the government. It just makes sure that you don't hire someone that you aren't going to be able to, keep around for a while. She also lists an organization that you can call if you have information, or if you have questions about information that you have. It's the United States Citizens and Immigration Services. They have all of the information about hiring immigrant workers and making sure that they're legal to work in the country. The last thing she talks about is disability insurance, and just making sure that if you have someone who is disabled, that you have all of the things in line for them so that they're going to be comfortable and that they won't have any other issues with your workplace. But that's basically it. The article was a good summary of everything you need to know about hiring your employee and making sure that the applicants and that the interview process goes well and that you are going to have someone who will be around for a long time. So everyone should check out the article that I post on Blackboard for you all, and I'll see you in class.